It's happening. Shit's getting real. This is Sophia Musto, and I am so excited to have you here to share my stories with you because life is full of flavor. The purpose of the Zensetter podcast is storytelling, and I want to hear your story, and thank you for listening to mine. You're going to meet so many amazing friends along the way, so thanks for being here. Namaste and hairspray. Welcome back. And when I say welcome back, I mean like really welcome back. I'm on a new time zone. I'm on a new coast. Some of you follow along on my social media channels where I'm Sophia Musto, not the Zensetter, but I just went on a retreat. And I didn't just go on like a retreat. And when I ask you, what does the word retreat mean to you? Because I learned a lot about myself, a lot. So, and one of my biggest takeaways at this retreat were thoughts. So let's dive right into all of this. So I just invested in myself for my 40th birthday. I've been in the hair industry for 22 years, and I thought, why the hell not? I'm going to go on a retreat where I know nobody. I'm going to travel by myself, and I'm going to go to the Hair Love Retreat. And the Hair Love Retreat is a life-changing experience for dreamers and like-minded businesswomen who want to level up and bring their bright minds together and really escape to learn and push themselves outside of their comfort zone. And this year, we were in the middle of Zion National Park. So let me take you to how the journey began. As you know, it is 2021 and everything is new, exciting. Every day is an adventure. You can look at it like it's shit, or you could look at it like it's an adventure. I choose to reframe and look at it as the adventure it is. So what day did I leave? I left August 26th or 7th. I don't know. Like I'm telling you, I am still energetically depleted, fulfilled, all the things from this trip. So I left for my first trip by myself in August to head to Zion. And I was calling it Mount Zion because this good old Catholic girl thought it's a mountain, so it has to be Mount Zion like the Bible, but that's in Jerusalem, not in Utah. And thank you, Misty, for telling me that. And I flew from Baltimore to Denver, Colorado, and then Denver, Colorado to St. George, Utah. And with anything, there are things you plan for, and there are things that you don't plan for. So when I left, everything was running smooth sailing up into the point where I realized I forgot to register my youngest daughter for middle school. Yes, I'm a wonderful mother. Thank you for reminding me. On my list to do's, I realized that I did not register my youngest child for school. She forgives me and loves me, but that happened. But we got that all squared away before I left. And everything else was running smooth sailing. Everybody was healthy. Everything was lined up. The bags were packed. There was no bad weather. Like you couldn't have asked for a better vacation day. So I head to BWI, and my husband surprised me and upgraded me to first class because for me, I am a safety nut. So I was really afraid of COVID. I was afraid of what people think. I was afraid of the messages. So I wanted to kind of take my travel the safest way I could. So I knew in first class there was less people using the bathroom and so on and so forth. So I was in first class, my first time. Thank you, United. It was an experience I will never forget. So I head to Denver from Baltimore, and we board the plane, and shortly later, we don't take off because with COVID and like going to a restaurant or going to a store, sometimes there just aren't enough employees. And right now, people get sick. Right now, there's protocols in place that we have to do, and this is just part of the adventure in each day. So unfortunately that happened, and unfortunately for me, I had a quick and tight connection in Denver. So when I landed in Baltimore to Denver, we have a time difference of 3 hours. And then we have a big ass airport. I mean, where I am, there is not a shuttle, there is not a golf cart. You walk. When you go to Denver, there is a friggin' train. Like, you have to go up and down escalators, and I do not like escalators. And you have to go up and down them and go to the A, B, C, or D concourse, which I just learned all about Denver Airport, and it's all under construction. And when my delayed flight landed, I had 6 minutes to get to my connection flight. And they were on the same concourse, so I was thinking, this is what my 75 hard trained me for. This is why I did all those walks. This was my training. It's like race day. It's on. So I am running with a hat and a backpack and my big ass water bottle. I'm writing a blog post about my summer my water bottle. It's like, my water bottle has lots of stories from the summer, so stay tuned for that. And I take off. I ran from gate B35 to gate B95. And like I told you, I did not know anybody, but I had internet friends, and I had been in classes and training programs with these friends. So we were so excited to meet, and their planes were delayed too. So I was still hopeful. I ran like my life depended on it. And if you've been in the Denver airport, you know that this is not an easy feat. I ran from that gate and made my plane. I was so freaking proud of myself. And I was wearing two N95 masks, not one, two. So I felt like a friggin' scuba like diver. So with those masks, I felt like I had no oxygen. I could not wait to breathe. And I was like, there. And the nice stewardess said to me, sorry, you can't board this plane. And I'm like, what? And he said, the gate's closed. And I'm like, but the gate is there. The plane is there. I'm talking to Alana and Erica, who are there. Now I'm crying hysterically, and I'm thinking, please don't embarrass yourself. You need a flight to catch. Like, you need to pull yourself together. And then I remembered that I had a bride and groom sitting in front of me, and I thought, God, that could be my wedding day. Like, this could be so much worse. There's a reason this is happening. This is happening for me. This is not happening to me. Having 3 kids and running is not an easy feat. And when they lose your luggage, that's when you really like sit in your own like, I'm feeling myself. But they lost my luggage. My luggage did not miss the flight. I missed the flight, but my luggage made it to St. George. So thank you, United, for that. I'm glad to know that my luggage made it. So there was not another flight that day. I had to wait to the next afternoon, actually. So I found a hotel right in the airport of Denver and spent the night. I cried a little bit. I learned to walk around a hotel room naked and wash my clothing in a sink because I didn't have any clothes. I had to do the best with what I had because I'm about to be dropped off in the middle of a mountain in the middle of a canyon. Like, there is no running water. There is no electricity. So I'm trying to brace myself by not quitting too, because it would have been easy just to go home. It would have been easy just to say, this isn't working out. Like, I'm not supposed to do it. And believe me, I did think that. I did. My limiting beliefs and my racing thoughts, but this is what the Escape to Learn was about. What was I learning about myself? So the next day, I just kind of used my smarts, and there's this really cool thing that you can do for $59, and you can rent and be part of the United Club. And they have this little room that you can sit in that are nice chairs where people are constantly disinfecting the bathroom. There's a bathroom attendant. There's people like there to give you free coffee and water and electricity. So I was able to charge all my devices and get prepped for the day to be in a nice restroom before getting on my flight. So I hung out in this room all day until about 45 minutes for my flight. And when I walked, this girl's like, you have to be going to Hair Love. I guess the hat gave it away. And I was like, are you? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, please, let's have a celebratory drink. I haven't drank all summer. Like, I want somebody to celebrate with. So we had a drink, and then a couple other girls were like, hair love, hair love. And we met like our people, and I'm like, okay, this is what it's for. This is what I've been waiting for. And then we lined up to board the plane. And like I told you, St. George is a very small airport. So the plane in Denver, we had to go outside. It was really cool. We had to board the plane outside to get on this like little Airbus. It's a 2x2, just one bathroom plane. And when we lined up, I met my coach. I don't know if you remember back, I interviewed Jamie C. And Jamie Constantano. I'm probably still effing up her name, but I'm trying. It's Contrastano, is how I believe you say her name. I ran into her in line, and she goes, Sophia Musto, is that you? And I was like, oh my God, this is why I miss my plane. I got to spend this time with her and really get to talk with her and have like, how lucky was I that I got this one-on-one time with my coach and my mentor, somebody I look up to when I was really feeling defeated, and she was excited to see me. So this is where the adventure began. So when we got on the plane went so fast because we had so much to connect upon. I asked her about her travel. She asked about mine. She had to leave her two small children. It's not an easy thing, as mothers. Like, we always put everybody else before us. So leaving our families is not easy. So we were chit chatting, and that's a lot of energy and a lot of people coming to a place. So we decided to get some food and drinks before we went to the retreat. So we looked up on Yelp a good place to get food close in Zion. Well, Zion is very large, we just learned. And Ubers are very expensive right now because nobody really wants to work. Safety is an issue. I mean, there's lots of things. So anybody that's working in service, I think of you often. It's not an easy thing, and you're doing it, and people need you, and you're showing up, and take the rest that you need to, because it's heavy right now, and we're all doing the best we can. So we get in an Uber, and it's $190 for this Uber ride for about 30 minutes. And we get dropped off at this cool brewery called the Zion Brewery in Springtail, Utah. And I got a sticker because I never want to forget about Juicy Daniel. And if you're listening to this, Juicy Daniel or Gerald, thank you so much for helping us that day. So Jamie and I we're sitting at this really cool brewery. And what's really cool in Utah is when you get there, it is nothing but this red rock everywhere. It is like, there is not a Target. There is not a Walmart. It is not what I am used to seeing. Like, here you see a Target or Walmart or a restaurant or a Kohl's. Everywhere you turn, I just feel like that's normal. So going to St. George, Utah and driving, and there is just nothing. It is nothing but like red rocks. I just can't even believe the views that I saw and the altitude, which my body wasn't prepared for. And it's a new learning curve. And they have these like fans with mist because there's no humidity. So it's really hot. It's like 110, 115 degrees. So it feels really good to just sit under these mist fans. So we're just chilling, enjoying it, and we're like watching the time, and we're like, okay, everybody's probably like checked in by now. We won't have to wait in the long line because shuttle buses took people from hotels to check into this retreat. Because once you were in this retreat. There was no leaving. That's what I soon learned. So we could not get an Uber. After an hour and a half of trying, there just was no Ubers. So I got up and asked Juicy Daniel. I was like, hey, do you guys use like Lyft or a cab service in this area? And he's like, we use the shuttle. And I was like, oh. And I was like, the shuttle just takes people to random locations. He's like, well, where are you staying? And we didn't know exactly where we were staying. We just knew we were at Under Canvas. And he was like, you're not getting an Uber from here. And we're like, what? So he's like, yeah, nobody's going to pick you up. So our Uber driver didn't inform us of that. But here we are now with our big ass luggage and no ride. So I'm like, can you give us a ride? He's like, I wish I could, but I gotta work. And we're asking, they're like, liability wise. And we're like, holy shit, how are we gonna get out of here? We're asking people that are hiking, where are you staying? Are you staying by under canvas? Not realizing even where we're going. So this nice guy who has a YouTube channel about like crazy mechanics, his name is Gerald. Gerald was the mechanic of the Springdale Brewery, and he's like, I'll drive you. So we basically hitchhiked to the venue. So this nice man takes us, and we're in the backseat of his car. And I mean, like, I tell my kids, stranger danger. Like, I tell my kids, don't ever take anything from a stranger. Yet here I am in the same clothes. Now, driving to a retreat where I feel like I don't belong. I can't believe I signed up for this with a guy where I hope he doesn't kill me. And on the way there, he pulls over and he's like, check out the cows. We're like, okay. And the cows are just like roaming the streets in the middle of nowhere. It's like where we would see a horse or maybe a deer. There is just herds of cattle just walking. And he's like, get out and smack a cow. We're good. We're good. We're good. And then we pull up to the event and he's like, well, where's your luggage? And we're like, what? My heart really couldn't take anything else. Luckily, Gerald was just like joking around with me and Jamie. And we were there. And if you saw some of my videos, like we got pulled up into a desert and dropped off into the middle of Zion to glamp. And I was like, here we go. So every time I had to walk to where I slept, I had to walk almost a mile, like in altitude. And we were lucky that we had flushing toilets and pool chain showers. So there was no adjusting the water or anything like that. It was like holding a chain and washing your body, holding a chain and washing your body. So for all you, I have to wash my hair every day, people, you would not survive. You wouldn't be washing your hair every day. That water could not handle being washed every day. And if you made it happen, I want to watch and see how the hell you made it happen. Because I watched one of my friends, I'll get to it, but we did a lip sync battle and she made herself Billy Ray Cyrus and she made her hair a different color and her face. And that was a scary shower for her if you ask her about that. Because it was at nighttime, again, with no electricity. Like, these are not things if you don't think them through. It's hard. So with all of the travel, I could have thought, this is terrible, this is happening to me. Instead, I reframed those thoughts because I have an amazing coach who was then there with me to remind me this is happening for me. And this is part of the experience of the retreat. This retreat is escape to learn to teach me things. So this is a 5-day intense, all hands power on. We had some DEI, and if you're not familiar with that, that's diversity, equality, inclusion training, because we live in a world where hairdressers are still in a segregated area of like churches where white people serve white people and brown people serve brown people, and people are people. And if we want to be a specialist, you better be prepared to serve all people, and you better be prepared to use language that's inviting for all humans. And as a service provider, I want to be the change in that and to see where and how I, as a better human, can communicate better and educate myself more to create inclusive places. So I always love to learn that. So thank you, Kia, for that amazing education while you were there. And then my friend Janetta was there from Alpha Parf with Cassie, and they taught some hands-on coloring techniques with the new color gels that are coming. And I am an Alpha Parf exclusive salon, so I was really excited to be out in the middle of a mountain learning these new techniques. Like, how many hairdressers do you know can say that they used a new product on hair swatches in the middle of outdoor processing with no electricity, no cell? Like, I couldn't even document it for you because, one, I couldn't charge my phone. It took me a day to learn how to do that. And Two, I didn't have any service. So when I didn't have service, at first I started thinking, I can't talk to my husband, I can't talk to my kids. And I really had to like reframe and say, I don't have an opportunity for a phone because I need to be present to where I am right now. So that was a gift within itself because being present and having that eye to eye contact, that hands on contact, sitting on those seminars were pretty rad. We listened to keynote speeches about trust and ease, and we listened to one of my faves, my spiritual life coach. I love Brittany Carmichael. And it was so cool because when she was there, I was like, this is amazing. I can't believe you're here. And on the back of my phone, I have this sticker, and I'm part of her Elevated Life community. And in that community, she teaches, is it a 7 or above? And what that rule basically means is when you are asked a question in your body, in your thoughts, what do you feel? Is it like, oh, that's a 7, that's an 8, that's a 9, that's a 10? Or is that a hell no 4? And you're still saying yes? So if it's not a distinct 7, it's a hell no. So if it's not a full body fuck yes, it's a hell no. So when I saw her, I'm like, this is amazing. My sticker is here. You are here. This is all my 7 and above happening for me right now. And she's like, Sophia, I can't believe you're bringing this up. This is what I'm going to speak about. It's like I just got done speaking about this with my friends I was sitting here with. And you just reminded me that this is one of my most powerful lessons and teachings. I'm like, oh my God, yes. It's like a rule I live by. I teach my children. And she's like, okay. So she did a campfire chat about it. And she is the creator of the oracle cards that I put inside of my Zensetter. She worked with an illustrator. She wrote the book. Like, Brittany did an amazing work because she's an amazing healer. And if you let the light in, she'll help you shine. So that was really, really, really cool to be part of that. To hike Angel's Landing with her on top of that was just a dream come true. Like, pinch me that I just lived in a postcard for 5 days. I really did. And I did yoga in the postcard. I hiked one of the scariest hikes in the world. If you research Angel's Landing, and again, if I listened to my thought and not my soul, my thoughts were like, you can't do this. This is too dangerous. And when I looked up, there was Britt and Chris Carmichael. Angel's Landing, thank God Chris was there because I would have turned around and just went shopping and bought crystals instead of doing this hike. But that is what 75 Hard prepared me for. Not only to win that Olympic sprint in the airport, but now I was like prepared. I was ready to drink a shit ton of water. My body could handle it without peeing my pants because I had to drink that gallon all summer. And when I did the hike, I did my research because I've been hiking and playing around all trails all summer. So when I looked at Zion on all trails, I don't wear socks. So thankfully they taught us about the need of socks because there's cactuses out there and the little things are airborne, so they get stuck in your legs. I'm so glad I wore socks now. Thank you for that list. I have my Colorado socks because they lost my luggage, and now I am very grateful for those socks. And if they didn't lose my luggage, I probably wouldn't have had the right socks or the right shoes. Who knows? But that's like where anxiety is good for me, because it helps me to look at it as a superpower that prepares me for these events. So when I hiked Angel's Landing, I hiked with this big Mamba Jamba water bottle. That's why she's going to have a story about her summer, because she saw a lot. And I also had a Camelback that was full of a bladder of water. I just learned to digest a bladder of water, which is just disgusting in its own feet, but yep. I was that thirsty, I drank that water. And when you're climbing the mountain, it's these switchbacks of climbing, going back and forth, back and forth. And it's like, are you almost there? Are you almost there? And if that wasn't almost like an image of life, like as we're climbing through the things, as much as we feel like we're almost there, it's like give and take, back and forth, ups and downs, climbing. But how does it feel when you get to the top? How does it feel when you look down? How does it feel coming down? When I came down that mountain, I was on my tippy toes feeling myself because I just did something really hard. I just did something that made me among the elite. And I did it with a smile on my face. And when I reached the top, I cried my eyes out like a baby with Britt and Chris. And that's a moment that is like a postcard in my brain forever. And I'll never forget it. Just like I'll never forget feeling so defeated in the airport and Jamie coming up to me with her mask on and pulling it down with a big old smile and saying, Sophia Musto, is that you? And us hitchhiking in to Mount Zion, not Mount Zion, see? Zion together. See, it's still my mountain. I overcame it. It was my Mount Zion that turned into Zion. That's what it was. I climbed that mountain. And when I looked down, I was just so proud of myself. Talking about proud of myself, when I committed to doing this retreat, I committed to one other thing. And if you follow me, I am a goofball. I put myself out there, but let me zip it back to you. I have never had a wedding. I don't really like to be the center of attention. I don't go on stages. I'm a natural goofball in my own environment for my own audience. So it's a tradition at the Hair Love to do a lip sync battle. And I am in the running for Colorist of the Year for Alpha Parf. I've made the top 30. And right now, they're, fingers crossed, the top 8 are competing in October. And you have to go on stage. So if I wanted to conquer this mountain, I needed to put myself on stage. So what better way to do that than to be Freddie Mercury and sing, Don't Stop Me Now. Yep. I got the teeth, I got an air guitar, I got a microphone, and a hella pair of bell bottoms. And I wore a wig, and my friend Olivia, OMG Hair Artistry, met me and glued my mustache on my face because I was sweating it off so bad. It was that hot. And I was scared to death. And again, I wanted to turn around. And again, I wanted to say, no, thank you. I changed my mind. And I thought, there's no way in hell I'll go first. There's no way. So everybody's setting up, and they set this competition up like The Voice. They have 3 people that are judging you, and then they have the previous year winner and the previous year winner, and they're all dressed up in costume. And then they start the battle. And sure as hell, I have to go first. And I'm like, oh my God. I have no idea how to get on the stage. You have to climb on the stage. I'm sweaty as hell. I'm in bell bottoms. And Daniel, God bless you for wearing leather pants and teaching on stage. When I wear those bell bottoms and then you wear those leather pants, I don't even know how you did that. I don't know how you did that. But anyway, Daniel is an educator for Redken, and he taught some techniques, and he was up there with his hat, his leopard, and his leather pants. And I bow to you, Daniel, because I tripped over my pants going up on the stage, and I was just like, please don't let my ass crack hang out. But it felt so good to be on that stage and to have all these internet friends that you never meet in real life, and to hear them chanting, screaming, and saying your name because they're so proud of you. And they're proud of you not knowing how scared you were. They probably knew you were a little scared, but they don't know you. And that's what this was about. Experiences, expectation, friendship, community, pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. And then at the end of it, asking yourself the hard question. Why do I feel this way? Where is it coming from? How do I know this to be true? And right now I'm finishing up a book. And as I'm listening to it, it reminds me about this full cycle of this whole experience for me. I had 3 coaches. Elizabeth, who I did workshop in a box with. Brittany, who I did some tarot card and some intuitive teaching with her husband, Chris, who did the hypnosis. And then Jamie, who was my life coach to get my mind and my heart back on track. And that trifecta of women and man were there. And they helped me push through the hardest questions I have ever asked myself. And that's why they call it doing the work. Because if it was easy, everybody would do it. and this world would be such a happy place full of unicorns. But instead, it's hard, it sucks, it's not pretty, but on the other side, when you hit those switchbacks and you get to the top, I promise when you look down, it's beautiful. So as I finish up this book, Soundtracks, it's about a song. And think about it. Like, think about a song. And my song that comes to me is 1988, Welcome to the Jungle. And I and Axel and Slash put together. And I was a little young cheerleader, and I wanted a na 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 knees all the time. And I think about that feeling, and I go back to that, and I put that song on, and that is a soundtrack. That's a soundtrack of a feeling and an experience. So, what soundtrack are you listening to in your brain? Is it a happy one? Is it a stressful one? Is it a sad one? Because you might need an escape. You might need to learn something, and you might need to grow. So that's my biggest takeaway with the retreat. And you're never going to believe this, but I have one more. So I'll be doing another solo episode. I might even do it live there, since I learned a lot about myself from the first one. And I'm heading to Tulum on an intimate retreat in the beginning of October. And am I scared? Yeah. Am I asking some hard questions? Oh, hell yeah. Am I excited for the adventure? Yeah. Because you know what? I'm not finished doing the work. And I want to be the best me for not only myself, but for my husband, for my children, for my guests that I serve, my community, and for the hair industry in general. Because together, if we share all these dreams, we can shine so much brighter. Because I want to spread love and light like sunshine with my power stance of my Care Bear power. So, thanks for listening to my story. I challenge you to get outside of your comfort zone, and I am so excited to pull a card for you. Okay. Ooh, I go with the flow and feel my connection to the stream of life. Reframe those thoughts and take the adventure on. Namaste and hairspray, and I'll see you next week.